Hello, everyone. Please forgive me for being days late. Uh, four, 4 days late to be exact. Tis the season to be busy as a musician, so I say it's the Christmas season. Today, anyway, is Tuesday, December the 17th. And I'm just going to kind of give you guys a little bit of an update on what I have given up so far on my journey. So, my journey started officially on December the 1st, which was a Sunday, conveniently. Easy to remember the date, easy to remember the day. So, on Sunday, December 1st, for that first week, I actually gave up alcohol, which is going to be the topic of today's video. Since then, on the second week, which started on December the 8th, I gave up all beverages outside of water. Now, I will say in that it is not unhealthy to drink other. Okay, let me say this right. It is not unhealthy to drink natural beverages. However, it is unhealthy to rely on today's society in America and the USDA regulations and different things like that to consider certain drinks to be natural. So what I mean by that is a lot of the things that we buy in terms of beverages in stores, if they have the word natural on it or if they have the word organic on it, a lot of people are tricked into believing that natural, if the word natural is on a bottle or a can, then that means that there is no artificial stuff in it. False. Sorry. So for those of you that have been believing that, that is absolutely the furthest thing from the truth you could possibly believe in terms of that. The word organic, a lot of people would think that, there's no chemicals that were used in growing the fruit that flavors the drink, and or that natural goes hand in hand with it being organic, meaning that there's no artificial flavorings, there's no dyes or nothing like that. That is also false. We are going to get more into that when we talk about the actual beverages next week. This week, I've actually split them up. Since they were 2 different weeks, they're going to be 2 different topics. So this week, we're going to talk about alcohol, and I'm kind of a week behind on purpose because I like to give myself another week after the week that I gave it up so that I can give my own personal testimony about the differences that I have experienced in my own body and in my other areas of my being as a result of giving that thing up. So today we're going to talk about alcohol. So here's my testimonial, my own personal testimonial about alcohol and how I was introduced. All my life, let's see, from baby all the way up to my adult life, I had never, ever, ever drank alcohol before. I did not actually have my first alcoholic beverage until I was 28 years old. Yeah, I know a lot of people are surprised. Um, but I really, really loved to drink other beverages such as sodas and juices and shakes and malts and just all kinds of different other drinks. But alcohol itself, I was not introduced to until I was 28 years old. And the number 28 is very significant for me because I experienced a lot of things that year when I was 28 that I had never experienced before. It was kind of like not necessarily a come to Jesus moment because Jesus had nothing to do with a lot of the stuff that I experienced that year. But it was kind of like for lack of better phrasing, let myself out of the gate, let my hair down, so to speak, type of year, because I had always been this very conservative little church boy who didn't do this and didn't do that, and this goody two-shoe, whatever. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But anyway, let's see. 28. I was working in Peoria. I was still living in Peoria. I had my own place. Actually, I was living in Dunlap, which might as well be considered Peoria. It's close enough. Peoria is the main major city in the area. But I was just enjoying life, and I was encouraged by a good friend of mine, hi Michelle Askins, to experience more of life and kind of let loose because I was very, very uptight, very strict, very just everything was just ABC 1, 2, 3, all ducks in a row. Everything was just go down the line, and she helped me to see that it was okay for me to kind of just let go sometimes every once in a while and just experience life and experience fun and even experience intoxication to a certain extent. However, I got a little taste of that and I kind of just let go. I just really enjoyed drinking, and even as it relates to socially, I had my very first drink at a place called Martini Mondays, and that's a really, really nice, classy place. It's on the riverfront here. And I was with a group of friends that I was singing with in a group that I used to run called Aka Harmonies. And, everybody had a martini except for me, and I had water. And I was just kind of like tired of being that kid. I was tired of being that person that never participated in the other activities that everybody else was participating in. And I was just kind of like, okay, you know what the heck? Let me just try this. And so my very, very first martini was called a Cloud Nine. And a Cloud Nine at the time. Hi Megan, she was my waitress, my first waitress ever with drinks. But it was a martini, and it's more of a creamy martini. And I fell in love. I had like 3 martinis that night. And I drove home just fine, wasn't drunk or anything like that, but I felt really good, and I had never felt like that before. So I was kind of like, ooh, I think I like this. So anyway, it kind of I think I got drunk for the first time in a club, and it was that same year, obviously. I don't remember exactly the time because drinking had become like a weekly thing for me. Like I would normally drink like once a week, more than likely on the weekends or something like that, or on my weekend. Which in retail, your weekend is not the weekend. Your weekend would be whatever days off fell on. But anyway, it was kind of like a casual thing. I was a casual drinker, and then casual drinking turned into being more, a little more than that. And I began to keep bottles of whatever in my house, and it was just something that I began to enjoy. It didn't really get out of hand until about 2015. I was dating a certain individual who was an alcoholic, and I would always drink because that was just kind of like the I guess call to arms in the relationship. Every day we'd get off work and we'd go home, and we'd talk or whatever, and we'd crack a bottle. That was just the everyday routine. And then before you know it, I had become an alcoholic. And the reason why I was classified as an alcoholic was because of the amount of alcohol intake that I would have every day. I could easily drink a fifth of whatever by myself on a daily basis. Now, that's not necessarily extreme to some people. Some people are just way, way, way more extreme than that. But hold on just a second. Hey, Jamaican. Hey, can we separate for a sec while I record this video? Sorry about that, guys. Anyway, I wanted to just make sure that you guys could hear me clearly without any distractions. But that became like a normal everyday thing for me. And sometimes I could even drink more than that. And when I say drink like a whole fifth, I wasn't drinking it straight. I was a lot of times making drinks with it. So you must imagine how much intake of liquid that would be to drink a whole fifth of cocktails by myself. Yeah, there would be times where I would drink shots and shots would be mixed in with it, but at least 70 to 75% of it would be mixed drinks. And so during that time, I was also in a very stressful work situation. Luckily, I was able to control that environment, that work environment, because I was the manager of the store. And so I was able to set my own culture. I was able to set the culture to what it needed to be, which was a healthy culture and a culture that was conducive of progression and productivity results. So, that was good. That did not change the fact that it was stressful. I lost control, as most of you know, with my story of just overall well rounded health at the beginning of that job. And so this was just a continuation or a later development that came afterwards. So I didn't start weaning myself away from alcohol until I moved back to Peoria. When I moved back to Peoria, it still continued because I went into a deep depression. My mother was sick, and she was in a nursing home for a little while in the name of rehabilitation, which was a bunch of BS. But I went into a deep depression because I kind of could see where things were going with her. And, as busy as I was trying to keep up with everything and her and everything else that I had going on, it was just really stressful. And so the drinking continued. So when I gave up drinking 2 weeks ago, I literally just gave it up like cold turkey. I did not wean myself off of alcohol at all. I just completely stopped cold turkey. And I felt this pain in the bottom of my abdomen because, when my sister came up here for Thanksgiving, we were drinking and celebrating like every day. And so I developed this very, very sharp pain. And every time I breathed in, every time I inhaled, the bottom, it felt like it was the bottom of my lungs, but down there in the abdomen area would just have this pain. And I had this pain before, but it wasn't this bad and it didn't last this long. And it happened about 4 days. It started happening about 4 days into the week. And then about fourth day, fifth day, sixth day, I was like, okay, maybe this is because I'm drinking too much. So I stopped drinking. And then when I stopped drinking, voila, the pain went away after about another day or so. So I am thinking that either it was my liver or kidneys or something down there in that area, but I have not had that pain since. I don't have a problem with, at least now I don't have a problem with controlling myself as it relates to alcohol. But I will say this, one of the incentives for losing the rest of this weight again is every time I lose 20 pounds, I can have a night of drinking. And on that night of drinking, I can only have 3 servings of whatever, whether it be 3 shots, 3 cocktails, 3 glasses of wine, whatever it is, it can only come in a 3 for that night, and then I am done again until the next 20 pounds comes off. So it's kind of like one of my little incentives for myself to keep me going and to keep me working towards it, because, I'm not going to lie, I still do like to drink. I still love the flavors and the tastes of certain things, and I do love the effects that alcohol can have in moderation. I will get into the educational part of this video because a lot of people are probably really, really wondering what I've researched and what I have to say about alcohol. So here goes. According to professionals, alcohol is a drug. It is, now I'm reading this. You can see that I'm reading this. It is classed as a depressant, meaning that it slows down vital functions, resulting in slurred speech, unsteady movement, disturbed perceptions, and an inability to react quickly. So that's not a surprise. Most people know that, but some people may not know that it is a depressant. Sometimes when we go through things in life, we turn to you hear the phrase "turn to the bottle." We'll talk about that in a little bit. As far as how it affects the mind, it is best understood as a drug that reduces a person's ability to think rationally and distorts his or her judgment. So, your ability to be quick and witty and sharp and alert, those kind of things fall by the wayside with alcohol consumption. Now, everybody does not have the same tolerance. Everybody does not have the same intake. Everybody's body does not react exactly the same to certain levels. Some can tolerate more than others. However, this is proven to clash with the human body's makeup in this way. Although classified as a depressant, the amount of alcohol consumed determines the type of effect. Most people drink for the stimulant effect, such as beer or glass of wine, taken to loosen up, so to speak. If a person consumes more than the body can handle, everybody's not the same with that, they then experience alcohol's depressant effect. They start to feel stupid or lose coordination and control. This is where people get drunk. This is what we call drunk. But this is what's really happening on the inside, in your brain. The depressant effect has taken place at that point, and this is the part of alcohol that a lot of heavy consumers enjoy, because this is what takes their mind off of life, so to speak. Whatever you're dealing with in life, whatever's bothering you, whatever's stressing you out, this depressant effect is what most people enjoy, but is the most dangerous part of consuming alcohol. We'll get into that as well in just a minute. Alcohol overdose causes even more severe depressant effects. Parentheses, inability to feel pain, whether it is physical or emotional. I'm inserting that there. Physical pain, emotional pain, spiritual pain, mental pain, any of those pains qualify for this statement. So inability to feel pain, which is also what I would call emotional numbness. Toxicity, where the body vomits the poison, because again, alcohol is not a natural matter. It is man-made, and it is like poison. It's a drug. So because it does not agree with the body, it was not made for the body, then the body will vomit it because it does not belong there, and especially in the amounts that happened. And finally, unconsciousness, or worse, coma or death from severe toxic overdose. And that has happened many times with people. Unfortunately, that's the severe side of it. These reactions depend on how much is consumed and how quickly it's consumed. Yes, it does matter how much you drink at once and how quickly you do it. That is definitely something. That's a thing. There are different kinds of alcohol. Ethyl alcohol, parentheses, ethanol. The only alcohol used in beverages is produced by the fermentation of grains and fruits. Now, okay, get this. Grains and fruits are natural things. We know that because, the first thing people will do is try to back it up or try to argue or defend alcohol. But parts of the alcohol obviously are natural. However, the process in which it's made and what it actually ends up being after chemicals and things are processed is definitely not natural, not a natural product at the end. Fermenting is a chemical, there it is, process whereby yeast acts upon certain ingredients in the food, creating alcohol. Alcohol content. So get this. This is kind of neat here. Fermented drinks such as beer and wine contain from 2% alcohol to about 20% alcohol. That's pretty low in percent. Distilled drinks, you ever had distilled water, you know that is a process by which minerals and all manner of different things that are in the water that the human body needs are taken out of the water, right? Okay. Distilled drinks or liquor contains about 40 to 50% or more alcohol. the usual alcohol content for each is, here we go. Alcohol is used for nutritional, religious, social, medicinal, recreational, and intoxicating effects. Now, here are some of the pros about alcohol, because as much as I'll sit up here and say alcohol is not good for you and above moderation, I'm always going to say beyond moderation, because within moderation, alcohol is proven to have some pretty good effects on the body. So here are some pros. Scientifically proven in more than 40 prospective studies to reduce coronary heart disease, and this is in moderation, because it lowers HDL cholesterol, which is good cholesterol. It also can lower the risk of blood clots. Now, this is, again, speaking in moderation. So then you would ask, what is moderation? So moderation is, for women, considered to be 1 glass or less a day. For men, 2 glasses or less a day. Now, I know that all these types of different things like body mass and really just body mass makes a difference sometimes when it comes to consumption and what one can take over what another one can take. And, we can get into the measurements and the percentiles and all that kind of stuff, but I don't have time to go into that today. But here are the cons, which, the cons are a lot greater than the pros, unfortunately, just because alcohol is alcohol. Heavy drinking, that is, again, outside of moderation, increases the risk of, you ready for this list? Get a pen and paper, write it down. Liver cirrhosis, pancreatitis, cancer, stroke, heart disease, lung problems, bone mass loss, dysfunctional immune system or immune system not being as strong, brain issues with the brain. We talked about some of that. Issues and very harmful to fetus in women who are pregnant, high blood pressure, and endocrinal system issues. Those are all things that can be negatively affected or caused by heavy drinking, which is too much alcohol consumption. So I always used to hear growing up, all things in moderation. I think that is very much so a thing, that you can live by. I think that if all things are done in moderation, including alcohol consumption, you'll be fine. It's just a lot of people will say, excuse me, sorry. A lot of people will take what I said about drinking in moderation and talking about how the cons, or the pros rather, of alcohol, you can have a lower chance of coronary heart disease, or you can have lower the risk of blood clots. Now, here's the thing. Alcohol is not designed to do that for your body. What has been found is that people that drink moderately have lower chances of having those things. So it's not necessarily the case that the alcohol is doing the lowering. It's the case that lower alcohol usage lowers the chance of having those things. Now, it is the case, though, with the whole coronary heart disease. Alcohol may play a part in lowering that. However, if you are living a healthy lifestyle physically and you're feeding your body the proper things, that on its own is going to completely lower your chance for the same thing, if not cancel it out altogether. So here's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that if you drink alcohol because you want to, because you're an adult and you're grown and you like the way you feel when you drink, absolutely, so be it. Let it be in moderation. However, if you drink alcohol because of studies like this, there is a better way to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish than by throwing in alcohol, right? Because we know that, if alcohol is not natural, anything that is foreign to the body or unnatural, the body's not, there's going to be more cons than pros, right? So let's be clear on that. So just some other notes that I took down. So with that whole all things in moderation, too much of anything can be deadly for you, can be unhealthy. Using alcohol as a numbing agent just gives temporary relief from stress. I cannot stress this enough. A lot of people turn to the bottle, and this is what I was talking about earlier, saying I was going to talk about this. You know, I don't even. So when people turn to the bottle for that numbing effect, you're really making things worse for yourself because all of your health is connected to each other because you are a being. You are a being. You're a multifaceted human being. You exist. You are in existence. And so this means that there is a function. There's a certain functionality to yourself. And one thing leads to another. So your physical health, your emotional health, your spiritual health, your mental health, your financial health, like all parts of yourself, they're all connected. And so if you're not well-round healthy all the way around, you're not healthy. If certain parts of yourself are healthy and not others, you're not whole. You're just not, period. So, those people who, depend on alcohol, it's just a crutch. It only gives you temporary, and I don't even know if I'd call it relief. It just gives you a temporary thrill that can help take your mind off of certain situations. Even when it comes to grieving, people lose loved ones, and they drink, drink, drink. If you don't go through that grieving process, you're never going to be emotionally healthy again because all you're doing is masking it. You're putting a rug over it. But if you take a pile of poop and put rug over it on the floor, it's still there. It's just under the rug. So it's just not as visible, but that does not cancel out its existence, does it? No. So why not just clean house properly and just use alcohol maybe as a treat every now and then, it's just not healthy to numb yourself because then now you're dysfunctional emotionally. And we're going to get into emotional health a lot in some of the weeks to come on this Project Deja Vu journey of mine. But numbing yourself is not really helping at all. It's not. It's just making things worse. Sometimes we have a microwave society in America and we think that everything happens really quick. And sometimes we are so busy and so caught up in the hustle and the bustle of life that, oh my God, my sister just died yesterday. Okay, I have approximately 2 days to grieve because my job has given me this many days off work. Okay, now I have to snap out of it and get back to life. Absolutely incorrect. That is absolutely not correct. That's not healthy, and sometimes we don't even grieve because of timelines. And, I'll be honest, myself, my mother just passed away on October 28th, and I have not grieved yet. I have not fully grieved yet. But I understand how important it is for me emotionally and how healthy it is for me to grieve. So what I'm doing is I'm going to Nashville, Tennessee for a week, hopefully more, next week for Christmas. And I'm going to use that time to grieve. I'm going to be around family. I'm going to be around people that love me, around people that care. So I'm going to use that time to grieve. Well, how is it that you can push off grieving? It's very easy because we're programmed to do that on a daily basis in America. Push your feelings to the side. It's bigger than that. Men don't cry. Just all different types of things that we're told that is very incorrect. And that's why we're walking around with cold hearts and we're walking around with people that can't feel and people that are not emotional and people that don't give a crap about other people. And, you think in your mind like, well, how can they even bring themselves to do that? Well, they're numb. They can't feel. It's a thing. So anyway, alcohol can play a big role in that. So this is how one thing leads to another and gets out of control because it starts, For me, even, it started with one drink, and then one thing led to another, and life's issues happened, and I refused to deal with them, and I turned to the bottle. And we got to be careful, even when we say, oh, it's been a long day, I need a drink. No, you don't need a drink. You need to deal with yourself. That's what you need to do. You need to deal with your emotions. You need to process some things. And grieving is not only necessary when people die, grieving is necessary anytime we lose something. Because we sometimes, well, a lot of times have separation anxiety. We can't, losing things and losing people, whether they die or not, is something that we have to deal with, especially when people do you wrong. You have to deal with that. You have to forgive people. You may not have to forget, but you do have to forgive in order to be healthy. You have to let that go. You have to literally process that thing. Then you have to deal with the loss. And losing people is not easy for some people, especially people that, like me, that love hard and love big. Losing people, whether it's death or whether it's just, them doing you wrong, or whether it's just time to cut them off because you're in a different place than they are and they would be a distraction or they would hold you back or whatever the case may be. You have to grieve, which means that you have to accept the fact that they're no longer going to be around, or they're no longer going to hold that place in your life, or the convenience of them being there is no longer going to be there. You have to accept that. Acceptance is a big part of grieving. So anyway, that's a whole nother topic. Drinking more than moderately. Yeah, I already talked about that. Alcohol consumption leads to mild. Oh, yeah, here's a good one. Alcohol consumption also leads to mild withdrawal sensations the next day that are commonly mistaken for hunger. You ever had that? So, like, you drink a lot of alcohol the night before, and then you wake up and you feel like, it feels like I'm hungry, like I could just eat an elephant. It's not really hunger. It's a sensation. It's a withdrawal sensation in your body. And a lot of people don't realize what toxic hunger is, but toxic hunger is a thing. Toxic hunger is not true hunger. A lot of times toxic hunger is a withdrawal from something that went into your body that should not be there. We'll talk about toxic hunger. That's probably going to be a Friday fitness talk all by itself. But anyway, this kind of concludes the educational part of the topic alcohol. Next week, this week, this Friday, I'm going to be talking about drinks, beverages. And I'm going to stay away from milk right now. That's a whole week by itself too. One of these weeks, I'm gonna be giving up all dairy products really, really soon, if not next week. But anyway, that's a whole topic. So we're going to really be talking about unrefined sugars, which is in a lot of what we make. Some people even make their own tea. They brew their own tea and put a bunch of sugar in it, and that's what we call sweet tea. But we'll talk about unrefined sugar. We'll talk about soda. We'll talk about juices. We'll talk about a lot of the things that are in those drinks. We'll talk about coffee. Yes, coffee is another drink that starts off natural, but ends up not being so natural in the end. Yes, some of the natural ingredient, which is coffee, has some great effects, even mixed with other stuff, and it still works for what it's intended for. But then at what cost? Because we have other things that have other counteracting effects. So anyway, we'll be talking about all that Friday. Let me just look here and make sure. So I'm gonna have to do Friday's video early in the day. So it'll be like an afternoon video because my Friday night is just booked. It's gone. So yeah, I'm gonna have to really, really get home after work and record Friday's fitness talk. So anyway, so here we are. I have given up alcohol, and then the next week I gave up all beverages outside of water. So I have not had anything to drink outside of water for like the past week and a half. It's going pretty well. I haven't really had too many withdrawal symptoms so far. I have had withdrawal symptoms, but they haven't really been severe. I've been through much worse as a former vegan and nutritarian, years ago. I've gone through a lot worse. I'm actually really glad this time that I'm letting go of things little by little. Every week I'm giving up something else because I really, that takes away my worry of something severe happening like it did the last time I had that whole hospital visit. When I did everything at once, it was just too much for my body to handle. So anyway, I want to say that I went to the doctor on yesterday, actually. And here's a little sleep update for you guys. I have been sleeping very well. I can get almost up to 8 hours of sleep, anywhere between 6 to 8 hours of sleep a night, which is back to normal. And for those of you that don't know, I was diagnosed with severe sleep apnea, which was the last hurdle medically that I had to overcome in order to get back on this health and fitness journey. Now my doctor has completely, fully released me to do what I need to do. So here I am doing it. But yeah, I get anywhere between 6 to 8 hours of sleep now. So all the not thinking clearly, not slurred speech without drinking, falling asleep in mid-sentence, falling asleep behind the wheel, all those things that I was experiencing before, they're non-existent. I'm back to sleeping again. And so I'm really excited about that. I did weigh myself. I weighed myself and I have lost 13 pounds since December 1st. Yep, give it up. Thank you. Bow. So I am actually almost to my first night of alcohol, which is really exciting because I think that by the time I lose this next 7 pounds, I will be in Nashville, Tennessee with my good old family kicking it for Christmas. So that's going to be a nice little treat to be able to have those 3 servings of whatever I choose at that time. New Year's is in there too. I'm hoping to be able to stay down there for New Year's as well, because I can just make it all on New Year's Eve and just really, celebrate and close out 2019. I'm ready to get into 2020 like nobody's business. 2019 has been really rough for me. 2020 is going to bring a lot of great things, and I'm really excited about it. So yeah, those are my little updates. And so yeah, tune in next Friday or this coming Friday, like 3 days from now, this Friday. I'm not going to give a time because I don't know exactly what time I'm going to do it. And because I'm not up to 1,000 subscribers on Facebook or on YouTube, I do not qualify to do live streaming. So if you guys could help me share my channel, that'd be great, because I would love to do live videos where I can actually talk to you guys and answer questions and respond to comments during the video, because we're really about to get into the nitty-gritty of some stuff. And I'm telling you, this video was very light. This was very surface. I'm really going to be digging in deep on some of these subjects that we're going to be dealing with, and I'm going to be unmasking some truths that's going to make some heads spin, okay? I'm going to be making people angry. I don't care, because, let the truth prevail, right? That's what I've always been about, the truth. So anyway, I thank you guys for joining me and watching. I will see you guys in 3 days on Friday. And please subscribe if you have not already, and please share to other people so they can subscribe. I'm going to be really helping people embrace and understand what it is to have well-rounded health and what it is to maintain it and to keep it going forward. We're really going to try to change some people's lives. I'm going to have some guests with me. I was supposed to try to have a guest today. That didn't work out. He was not able to make it. But maybe, hopefully we'll have a guest Friday. I don't know. I'll just sporadically have people coming in and joining in on my videos. I'll have medical professionals. I'll have experts in certain areas that specialize in certain things. I'll have nutritionists join me in some of my videos. Sometimes it just depends on the week and it depends on the topic. So I will see you guys later. Bye.